After my husband and I got married, we were married in 2010. In 2015, we had financial problems. He tried to do some work in ministry, and he had a degree in counseling that he was doing, but we had some financial hardships. Back in his life when he was younger, he struggled with a lot of drugs and alcohol in his life from his family, and then it became something that he dealt with in his life. And so when we had this major hardship happen in 2015, he backslid completely. A year and a half after I got saved, I met my now husband. We moved very quickly. He had actually just gotten out of prison. I met him like a month later, but he was this born-again Christian. I mean, he was sold. He was on fire. He was telling people about Jesus on the buses. I mean, he was going to Bible college. We kind of got together really quick, and when I became a Christian, I decided I was going to save myself for marriage. Then I met my husband, and we moved too quick, and I got pregnant. And I was completely devastated. Like, I wasn't supposed to do this. I was supposed to save myself for marriage. We did it the wrong way. I just struggled. I mean, I didn't feel worthy of the baby up until when he was born. Thank God I was a Christian, because I strongly believe that, his life had meaning, and I couldn't have an abortion, but it didn't mean I wasn't scared to death, and I felt completely ashamed to even come before God. It was like I cried at my baby shower. Like, I just never felt like I deserved the baby. The one thing I learned through that was I felt like God was saying, even though you did this, and it's not ideal that I want you to have a baby outside of marriage, because it's just harder and that's not his design and plan, I'm still going to give you this beautiful gift. And he's a beautiful and perfect gift. And that was just a way I felt like God really just moved, and he was there for me, and he provided in every way. And I wanted to work things out because of our son, and we ended up dating again, and we got married when our oldest was 1 year old. After my husband and I got married, we were married in 2010. In 2015, we had financial problems. We had moved our family out to North Idaho, up on the Canadian border. He tried to do some work in ministry, and he had a degree in counseling that he was doing, but we had some financial hardships. Back in his life when he was younger, he struggled with a lot of drugs and alcohol in his life from his family, and then it became something that he dealt with in his life. And so when we had this major hardship happen in 2015, he backslid completely. And it was a really hard year for us, and I just continued to have faith. And God, I don't know what's going on right now with my husband, but he's just acting different, and I hadn't been around anybody that was on drugs like this before, but he had been for 9 months. Until he finally got arrested. And after he was arrested, my children and I were displaced. I had to move back from North Idaho to my parents' place in Boston. Our circumstances led us to going back to Idaho. My husband was let out on bail, and we were going to try to, get a place again. I mean, we were evicted from our home. I mean, we just had lost everything. He was trying to get a job again in the Northwest. And I moved in with him. We didn't even have a place to live. We were living in a motel. So I now had the youngest one, who was 6 weeks old. It was the end of February in 2016. We were driving around looking for rentals in Great Falls, Montana. And there were some people following us in a car. And my husband said, "Oh, I know those are undercover cops. I know there are." And they pulled us over. They were undercover federal agents. And they're real calm at first. And then they put a gun to my husband's head, and all my children were in the car. And they took my husband away, and they arrested him on federal charges. I've never been with my husband after that, because he was then put in jail. So I was left on the side of a road with 3 boys. The oldest was 7, so they were 7, 5, 1, and 6 weeks old. It's the end of February, and we're in Montana, and I'm in a park on the side of a road, and all my life is in a motel room across town. God just spoke to me that I need to pack up my things and make the 7-hour drive back up to Idaho, where we had been living with our family for the past couple of years. Before we moved here 3 years ago, we were putting our life back together for 2 years, back up in North Idaho. And I slowly got back into nursing. God opened doors just left and right, providing, a job, and then the child care, and he's just constantly providing. At the end of 2016, my husband got his sentencing. I drove back out to Montana, where we had gotten pulled over. And I got the sentencing read, It was 17 and a half years. 17 and a half years is like a punch in the gut. It's like he died. But he didn't die. You know, we stole their dad, and my husband, he's on the phone. But we made that long drive back from Montana, and I got home to my house, and the kitchen counter had food and flowers and cards. And it just took a couple days to take it in. Now it's, you know, October 2021, we've made it this far, and my husband's done 6 years total now, and we just found out last week that he got 3 years off his total time, so he's looking at coming back in the next 4 to 6 years. But it's a long road, and I couldn't do it without my faith. I couldn't do it without Jesus. I couldn't do it without, you know, my Christian family, having a church home wherever we go. It's what gets me through, and it's what gives me a lot of peace and happiness and joy. I mean, I feel very joyous all the time because I have my faith, I have Jesus, I have friends and family. I mean, you can feel at your rock bottom, but God's there. You're not alone. He's right there. You just need to talk to him and pray to him and walk in his ways and go find his people, you know. There's a lot of people that love the Lord, and they're following him, and they can teach you how to follow him, and he's there for you.